What's going on, guys? This is the Great Divine One, and today I am going to show you a build that some people have been asking me about. So I'm going to divulge some top secret information that I shouldn't, but hey, I've been running this build for quite a long time, so I'm going to go ahead and share it with you guys and whoever, if you guys want to put this build together, it's for strictly for PvP purposes. I mean, you can run it with PvE, but I run this build and I made it specifically for PvP. The reason why I put this build together is I didn't want to run a DPS build like, a lot of players do in the DZ. I wanted something different, something that was a little bit more challenging. So I put this build together just to, counteract the DPS builds in the Darkzone. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go through this build with you guys. So first off, I'm running Technician, and the reason why I'm running Technician is it gives me an extra skill tier that adds to this build. And the reason why you want to run Technician, you need the extra skill tiers because your build is basically on your skills. It's status effects. It's a status effect, hazard protection hybrid build. So, and it's got a little tankiness to it as well. So you'll have a little bit more survivability when you come across those DPS builds in the dark zone. So, uh, we have Technician, like I said, that we're running for that extra skill tier. Now, the guns that I'm running are my Vector SBR 45 ACP, and I have SMG damage. I have critical hit chance on here. I have damage to target out of cover, and I'm running in sync on here. So, and the reason why you want in sync, I'm running in sync on both firearms, because in sync is wonderful. You're hitting, when you hit an enemy, when you're shooting at them, it grants you 15% skill damage for 5 seconds. And then you're also using, your skills. So with InSync, it adds plus 15% weapon damage for 5 seconds as well. So when you're shooting and your status effects are going off, your damage is increased. It's basically doubled when both buffs are active at the same time. So InSync is a wonderful talent to run, and I have them on both guns. My second firearm is the FAMAS. I love the FAMAS, and I love my Vector SBR 45 ACP. I have the FAMAS. I'm still working on upgrading my build as well. I'm trying to get to that level 20 expertise, and it's going to be a monster. So with this build, I really want to get another SBR, a Vector 45 ACP with the same type of core attributes and talent as well. But I do have the FAMAS for more of a long range weaponry. So now for the pieces on my build, I have the Golden Gear. I have the Golden Gear mask. It has armor maxed out, status effects maxed out, hazard protection maxed out, and 12% skill haste mod on here. Now I'm running all skill haste mods on here, and the reason why you want to run all skill haste mods on this build is because you want your bleeder hive and your secret mine to come back up as quickly as possible. So that's why this for this particular build, I'm running these mods with skill haste, and this is very vital for this build, because that's what your build is about. It's status effects, and you want the status effects. You want your hive to come back up as quickly as possible, especially when you're fighting more than one player, and you want to put that bleed back on those players. Your hive is going to come back up that much more faster with the skill haste mods. So now that we have the Golden Gear mask, like I said, it has 10% status effects, 1% armor regen, and 5% total armor. You want the 3-piece Golden Gear because you want all of the brand set talents on there. You basically want the 10% status effects, the 1% armor regen, and the 5% total armor. And this basically coincides with the armor that you're rolling on each piece to give you more survivability with this build, especially when you run into those DPS players, and there's a lot of them in the DZ. So this is what this build is for, and it's just something different. I want to run something different And that's really basically all you see is DPS builds. And this is, this is an awesome build. When you run into those DPS players, they're just running crit chance, crit damage. They don't have hazard protection on, you know. Now, they did come up with that Catharsis mask. The Catharsis mask, when it's put together right with the build, it's a pretty awesome, awesome exotic that people have with they run with their DPS build, and it does give this build a challenge as well. But it's doable to take out those people as well. You just got to time it right. So as I said, with the three pieces, I'm going to go over the three pieces of the golden gear first. Now, for your backpack, you have your golden gear backpack, and what we have, like I said, for the golden gear brand set bonuses is the 10% status effects, 1% armor regen, total armor. And you have maxed out armor in here. I have skill haste on here. Like I said, the reason why I have the skill haste and the skill haste mods is it's allowing your bleeder hive to come back up as quickly and as fast as possible, and along with your seeker, and I'll explain why you're running your seeker with this build as well. Now, for the talent on your backpack, for your golden gear backpack, you want shock and awe. And shock and awe is applying a status effect to an enemy, increases total skill damage and repair by 20% for 20 seconds. Now, this is a wonderful talent to have with this build. Like I said, it's really cohesive, this whole build all together. When you're running it with all of these pieces and all of the attributes and the talents, it works really well together, and it's pretty awesome PvP build in my opinion. So, as I said, you're going to be putting that bleed on them, and the bleed is in, and also you have your dynasty fire holster as well. Go for that too as well. But for your status effects, the bleed and the burn effect with shock and awe is going to be putting that bleed and that burn on them, for 20 seconds. And that's a pretty long time, especially when someone, someone's trying to shoot you with a DPS build. So make sure you have this talent on here, and with the core attributes, you have this 12% skill haste, you have 10% status effects, and then 12% skill haste mod on here as well. And the third piece of my golden gear is my glove, and like I said, you want the brand set, you want all of those bonuses, the 10% status effects, 1% armor regen, 5% total armor, which gives you a little bump in your armor, and that's exactly what you want, especially running up on those DPS builds. So on my glove, I have hazard protection and I have status effects on here. Everything, as you see, is maxed out on this whole build. So you want the hazard protection on this build, and the reason why you want hazard protection is there are players out there that are running DPS builds, but they might throw a bleeder hive out there, or they might have on the fire holster. So this also allows and gives you a little bit more survivability, especially with people that have status effects as well. So this is a really awesome build for DPS, and for some hazard protection as well. So I love this build. It's really different. Put it together. Just go out there and see how you like it. It's really awesome. So you just gotta run it right. And I'm gonna give you little tips and tricks on how to run this build as well. So for the knee pads, I have my Gilligard. I have Gilligard knee pads, and I have armor on here, skill damage, and hazard protection on here as well. The reason why I don't have, I have some more knee pads that have status effects on them and the hazard protection, but I put the skill damage on here because I just want that little oomph a little bit, for the skill damage, especially when with my seeker, and I'll go over the seeker in a hot second. But the skill damage, with the status effects with your bleeder hive, it's pretty awesome. So if you want to, you can change the skill damage to status effects. It's up to you, but that, like I said, I like that little oomph a little bit. So now we're going to go over the exotic fire holster. It's the Imperial Dynasty fire holster, which has status effects and it has hazard protection on it as well. Now this is an awesome exotic. This is my favorite exotic in the whole game. I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The talent on here is called Dragon's Glare, and its while in combat applies burn to the enemy closest to you within 20 meters. Now there is a 35-second cooldown, which is fine because by that time, even just like a couple of seconds, your bleeder hive is going to come right back up. Like I said, when you have the skill mods and that extra little skill haste rolled on that backpack, your bleeder hive is coming right back up. So even if that status effect for the fire has it's on cooldown, you're still always going to have your bleeder hive available to you. So now for my chest piece, I have the Badger Tuft, the 0Fs, because I don't know, people that run into the dark zone, and I run into them, they know me. I like to talk, a little mess, here. They're just all in fun, but I still like to talk mess when I'm doing the PvP because it's fun. Talk mess, especially when take somebody down. So I'm running this chest piece because I give 0Fs when I'm in the dark zone. It's whether you live or you die, it's all in fun. Just go out there in PvP. It's really awesome. There's some really awesome players out there. I have a lot of fun in the DZ. Don't listen to some of the people that say, "Oh no, don't go in the DZ," or they complain about the DZ. The DZ is awesome and I love it. I live there. It's fun. There are so many awesome players that you run into, so many cool people. So go in the DZ, get your PvP on. You're gonna love it. So going back to the 0Fs. Now, of course, I don't have a shotgun. I'm not running a shotgun. That's not what it's for. I'm running my 0F strictly for the talents on this chest piece. Now, I do have status effects, and I have skill damage on here as well. Like I said, I want a little oomph to my status effects, and when my seeker hits. But I'm going to go over in the seeker in a minute. But just a little oomph, and for my skill damage as well. So, for the talent on your on your chest piece, you have perfectly unbreakable. And that's when your armor is depleted, repair 100% of your armor. And you have the cooldown is 55 seconds. Now, I love this chest piece because it's so awesome, like I said, especially when you run into the people with the DPS builds because they have that DPS and they're hitting pretty hard. So, make sure you have the perfectly unbreakable on there, the 0Fs for that chest piece because this is really awesome talent. It does allow you kind of like an extra life a little bit. So, but there are also, I've noticed now, there are a lot of DPS players that do run the 0Fs, so just keep that in mind when you're out there PvPing. So, the attributes, like I said, status effect, skill damage, all mods are skill haste. All your mods are skill haste because, like I said, you want your hive to come back up as quickly as possible. So, for my hive, I'm running my stinger hive, and it applies the bleed, and it's my favorite thing. I have disabilities in my hands, so I can't just keep constantly pounding on that trigger with my hands and stuff like that. But I love gaming. I love gaming. But I run this status effects hybrid hazard protection build because it allows me to have fun and enjoy myself in the DZ and still be competitive. Still, kind of hang with those good players too as well. Sometime I win sometime I lose some, but this build has given me a lot of survivability, and I do love it, and allows me to enjoy my gaming more so than I would if I was running the DPS. Because as I said, I just can't do it. So this allows me to have a lot more fun and for a longer time in the DZ. So run your bleeder hive. We're at a skill tier 2, and you're at a skill tier 2 because of the technician. As I said earlier, that gives you an extra skill tier. So that's why you're running technician with this build. Now, I know a lot of people are asking, oh, the seeker mine, that doesn't do a lot of damage. And it doesn't. It doesn't do a lot of damage. That's not why I have it. It's not for the damage. Well, a little teeny bit, but the seeker mine, the reason why I'm running the seeker mine is it does apply the bleed status, the status effect on your target. So when it hits them, it does apply that bleed. And like I said, it's a status effect build. with some skill damage on it as well, and hazard protection. But the Seeker Mine, the whole reason why I'm running this is because it allows me time. It gives me time. As I said, the DPS builds, they hit really hard. You want a lot of that armor, that 1.9, when you build your expertise. But before that, it's at 1.8, but it's still enough armor for survivability. Now, for the Seeker, like I said, it gives you time. The reason why it gives you time, most people in PvP, when they see that Seeker coming, they're going to turn around and run because they don't want to get hit with that because they know they're going to start bleeding. They're going to start bleeding. So, but for the most part, some players don't. They don't care about the Seeker. But when it hits them, it knocks them off their feet. And that is the whole purpose of the Seeker Mine. Either they're going to run, but it's going to knock them off their feet. And what that does is it interrupts their DPS. When it interrupts their DPS, they're not shooting at you. So that's giving your status effects more time. And then, you're shooting them as well. You're proccing, you're in sync. And that's giving you double damage because you're shooting and you have your status effects as well. So this is a really, really, really awesome build. And like I said, it's really proactive in against those DPS builds. So, like I said, the Seeker Mine is strictly mainly to knock them off their feet, to interrupt their DPS, to give you a little bit more time to help proc your in sync, put your status effects, your bleed, and then by that time, your dynasty holster is right back on right back on point. It's gonna start burning them again. So, this Seeker Mine is very vital and very important to this build because, like I said, it gives you time, especially with those DPS builds. So it's gonna allow your fire holster come back up, your hive is coming back up immediately. So, like I said, this is an awesome build, guys. I really hope you enjoy running this build. And I just have the Regulus on there, and I don't really use it, but so like I said, guys, get that Vector SBR 45 ACP. It hits. It really does, especially with that in sync on there. And you want the damage to target out of cover on both your firearms, because it's just a really, really awesome attribute to have, especially with that DPS. So I hope you enjoy this build. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you enjoy running the PvP and setting people on fire and bleeding them. Bleed them dry, like I say. Toss them on the barbecue. Smoke them. Everybody likes a good barbecue. I mean, I do. I mean, don't you? So, yeah, I'm pretty sure you like barbecue. So, anyhow, guys, please press that subscribe button and that like button. I do appreciate the support. I'm not a regular YouTuber. I just do this for fun and also just to help my fellow gamers out. People were asking about this build. And I haven't given it up for quite a while, and it was a reason why I didn't want everybody out there running and killing me with my own build. But I kind of wanted to keep this a secret, but people are asking about it, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you guys. And I hope you enjoy running it just as much as I do, because, as I said, the hazard protection. There are DPS builds. They do have bleeder hives. They're running the dynasty holster. So this build gives you more survivability in there with the hazard protection, the extra armor on here, the status effects, everything. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. Like I said, subscribe, smash that like button and that subscribe button. I appreciate the support, guys. You have a blast, and it's been fun. And I'll see you manana.